Hello everyone. So ngayon we're going to have a practice sa laws of growth and decay, which is one of the application ng first order differential equation. So in here, I am not going to discuss what will be the formula. Kumbaga, straight to the point na ako mag-discuss. Okay, since kasi practice lang to. But do not worry kasi syempre babanggitin ko naman yung kung anong formula gagamitin natin and what to do in that certain process sa pag-solve natin. Okay? So anyways, let's start by answering the first problem. So the number of bacteria in a culture increases at the rate that is proportional to the number present. The initial amount is 100. There were 2,000 bacteria in a culture after 2 hours. What will be the estimate number of bacteria after 10 hours? So, una, kasi we're talking about laws of growth and decay, remember, when it comes to laws of growth and decay, we are actually pertaining to the increase or decrease ng population or number ng given subject. Kumbaga, sa tingin mo ba itong amount of subject na to, mag-i-increase yan, okay, in the future or magdi-decrease yan? One of the given example is yung population, especially kapag usapang population ng microorganism, which is like this first problem. Okay? So, anong formula ng laws of growth and decay? So, remember, ang formula niya ay dP all over dt is equal to K times P. Okay? It's up to you kung anong gusto nyong letter. Ako kasi pinili ko P kasi when it comes to laws of growth and decay, we are pertaining to population. Kaya ako pinili ay P. Okay? So anyways, anong gagawin natin dito? What we're going to do now is we will get the general solution of this first order differential equation. Okay? So paano yun? So first, I will switch the positions of dt and p. So we will have dp all over p pala, sorry, times k times dt. Okay? And remember na si k, okay, si k ay isang constant. Constant proportionality si k. Kumbaga constant lang siya. Okay? K is a constant. Alright? Also, if you're going to read the problem very carefully, di ba, the number of bacteria in a culture increases. So, ibig sabihin, dapat si Kp mo ay positive. Dapat positive siya. Unless, sabi sa problema, nagdi-decrease siya, negative dapat yan. However, according to the problem, it is increasing or nag-i-increase siya. So, dapat positive si Kp. Okay? Anyways, let's now proceed. So in here, we have dp all over b, p pala, is equal to k times dt. So we will integrate both sides. So pag integrate mo both sides, we will have ln of p is equal to kt plus c. Ayan. So, pwede na to as your general solution. Pwede na to. Or, kung gusto nyo i-simplify, wala naman akong problema. This one, I can convert this immediately sa exponential function. Okay? Kasi ito magiging siya, P is equal to E raised to KT plus C. Or kung gusto niyo ng let's take it slow, kumbaga like paano ko nakuha from this to this, then I will discuss it briefly but surely. Okay? So, since kasi meron tayong ln of p sa kaliwa, we will have e's on both sides. So, we will have e raised to ln of p is equal to e raised to ln of kt plus c. Okay? Kung, kung meron kang e sa kaliwa, dapat ganun din gagawin mo sa kanan. Okay? That's one of the basic rules sa equality. If ever you're going to have E on the left side, dapat ganun din on the right side. Okay? So anyways, we have e raised to ln of p is equal to e raised to k t plus c. Then, in here sa kaliwa, di ba kasi meron tayong e raised to ln of p. So we can cancel e at saka si ln at ibaba natin si p. Okay? So, meron na tayong p sa left side. Then here, e raised to kt plus c. Then, we can separate kt at saka si c. Okay? Remember, one of the laws of exponents, kapag meron kang x raised to m plus n, yung exponent ng x mo ay m plus n, at gusto mo silang ipaghiwalay, then we will have x raised to m times x raised to n. Okay? Yun. So we can do that. So we will have e raised to kt times e raised to c. And ito naman si e raised to c, constant to. Kasi yung c rito, isa siyang arbitrary constant. Okay? So e raised to c, ito, it is nothing but a constant. And since kasi yung exponent niya ay naka-arbitrary constant, why not we will represent it as capital C na lang? Because since yung exponent niya ay isang arbitrary constant, and as you can see, e raised to c is a constant, then why not let's represent it as capital C? Because c and e raised to c are just the same. Okay, parehas lang naman silang constant. So why not just represent it as c na lang? So, with further arrangement, ilagay ko si c sa unahan. So magiging c e raised to k. And there we go. That is now our general solution. Okay? Siya yung magiging general solution. So what's next? Ngayon, punta naman tayo dito. So, sa condition nito, let's talk about initial condition. Kumbaga, initially, okay, sa simula, sa Tagalog, initially, ang time mo ay equal to 0. And according sa given, the initial amount of the bacteria is 100. Therefore, your P is equal to 100. Okay? Nag-gets nyo ba kung bakit T is equal to 0? Okay? Kasi after we get the general solution, the next thing we need to do is punta tayo sa initial condition. Kumbaga, sa starting condition. Okay? So sa starting condition, syempre your T is equal to 0. Okay? Kasi sa initial, simula pa lang yan. So that means syempre, you will start at 0. And according here, the initial amount is 100. So ilagay natin siya dito. Initially, your P is 100. So, isulat natin yung formula. P times. P is equal to CE raised to KT. So, your P is 100 is equal to CE raised to K times your T 0. So, syempre, if you're going to multiply K by 0, magiging 0 yan, di ba? And remember, anything raised to 0 is equal to 1. So, magiging C times 1. So, C times 1, magiging C lang siya. So, therefore, your C is 100. So, we have your formula, P is equal to 100E raised to KT. Ayan na siya. That's it. Okay? There we go. Pero here's the thing eh. We found the initial amount na si 100, di ba? Kasi si C isa siyang arbitrary constant. Tapos nakuha natin yung amount niya or value which is 100. However, paano naman si K? Kasi si K isa rin siyang arbitrary constant. So paano yun? So, what we can do is we can use itong given na to. Okay? There were 2,000 bacteria in a culture after 2 hours. Okay? So, let's just say T is equal to 2 hours and your P is 2,000 bacteria. Okay? So, sa formula na to, P is equal to 100 times E raised to KT. We will have your P as 2,000 is equal to 100 E raised to K times your T, which is 2. So, simplify natin to further, we will have 100 E raised to 2K is equal to 2,000. Then, we can simplify it by dividing both sides by 100. So what happens if you divide both sides by 100? So if you're going to divide both sides by 100, magiging 20 is equal to E raised to 2K. Ayan, nakasimplify na siya. So ngayon, we can find your K. Madali na to. We can now find your K. So here, we will apply natural logarithmic function on both sides. So magiging ln of 2 is equal to ln of E raised to 2K. Alright? Then, as you can see, si 2K, isa siyang exponent sa E. So we can bring down 2K on the side. So we will have 2K times ln of E. Okay? So dito, sa ln of E, remember, ln of E is equivalent to 1. Okay? Ln of E is equivalent to 1. Alright? Therefore, we will have 2K times 1 is equal to ln of 20. So 2K times 1, obviously magiging 2K yan, is equal to ln of 20. So in here, we can find your K. So we will divide both sides by 2. And we will have K as ln of 20 all over 2 is equal to K. Or, para hindi kayo mahirapan, we can have 1/2 times ln of 20 is equal to K. Ayan. So that is now our K. So anong mangyayari kapag meron ka ng K? Therefore, your formula magiging P is equal to 100E raised to K, which is 1/2 times ln of 20 times T. Ayan. So ito, nagiging particular solution mo na siya kasi wala ng arbitrary constant. Ito na yung parang parang particular solution mo. Okay? That's the interesting part here. However, we can simplify this one. Okay? Which I do believe if you simplify this one, it will not be complicated para sa'yo. So how can we simplify this particular solution? So ilagay ko siya dito. So we have P is equal to 100E raised to 1/2 times ln of 20 times T. What I can do here is I'll combine T at saka si 1/2. Okay? So we will have 100 times E raised to T all over 2 times ln of 20. Okay? Kinombine ko si 1/2 at saka si T. Alright? Then after that, okay, kapag kasi meron kang coefficient ng isang logarithmic function, pwede mo siyang gawing exponent sa input niya. Okay? Parang ganito lang eh. Like for example, x times ln of sabihin natin 2. So ito, yung coefficient ng logarithmic function mo, pwede siyang maging exponent dito sa input mo, which is magiging ln of 2 raised to x. Parang ganon. Actually, power law of logarithm tawag nun eh. So, we can put it as an exponent sa 20. So, magiging 100 e raised to ln of 20 raised to t all over 2. Okay. And remember, meron kang base na e at meron siyang exponent na natural logarithm. So, that means, ika-cancel mo si e at saka si ln. Hence, we will have 100 times 20 raised to t all over 2. So, this one is far better. Okay? Para sa akin, ito yung mas madali. Mas madali pang gamitin kaysa ito. Especially if you're using calculator. But if you don't believe me, then ang gagawin ko is that I'm going to use these two formulas just to get the answer. Okay? So now, nakuha natin si K, si C, at saka yung particular solution niya. Ngayon, proceed na tayo sa main objective na. What will be the estimate number of bacteria after 10 hours? This one is easy. Ang gagawin mo na lang is you will substitute. Substitute 10 sa letter T because T represents time. So let me erase this one muna for a moment, okay? Alright, so balik na tayo rito. Now, as I said, we will answer this problem. What will be the estimate number of bacteria after 10 hours? So madali na to. Okay? We will now substitute 10 sa T. So we have dito sa left side, 100 times 20 raised to T, which is 10 all over 2. So syempre, 10 all over 2 is just the same the same way in saying 10 divided by 2. Okay? Kumbaga, 10 all over 2 is 5. In other words, yun. That's it. Alright? Then on the right side, you can substitute it here. 100e raised to ln of 2 times ln of 20 times 10. Ayan. So that's it. Now, let's use calculator. So in here, when I use the calculator, they're actually both correct. Okay, parehas siyang tama. So that means both of them have the same answer, which is exactly 320 million. Okay, ganun din dito. If you're going to use the formula on the right side, we will have 320 million. So overall, we have 320 million bacteria after 10 hours. So that's it. Okay, that's it. Yan. Okay na. Alright, that's our first problem. But don't worry, there will be another problem pa. So let's go here sa second problem. The number of bacteria in a culture increases at the rate that is proportional to the number present. If the doubling time is 12 hours, then how many hours will be, wait lang, may mali akong sinabi rito. Wait lang. Then how many hours will the number of bacteria become triple? Actually, initial. Okay, initial number of bacteria become triple. Yan, there we go. That's far better. Okay? So, first and foremost, as always, write the formula. dP all over dt is equal to kp. Alright? So, I'm going to explain once again kung paano to kunin yung general solution nito. Kasi after nyong isulat itong formula, sabi ko kanina, you're going to get the general solution of this first order differential equation. Okay? So I'm going to summarize it and be concise as I can. Alright? So first, anong ginawa ko? Pinagpalit ko yung position ng dt at saka si p. So we will have dp all over p is equal to k times dt. Tapos after that, in-integrate ko silang dalawa. So if you're asking me, bakit ko pinagpalit si dt at saka si p? Kasi I'm gonna apply separable variable. Kung lahat ng lahat ng terms na similar, ipagko-combine ko sila. So if we have dp, dapat kasama ko si p. Okay? And si k, constant lang naman siya, pwede ko naman siyang ipagsama kay dt. So integrate ko to both sides. So we will have ln of p is equal to kt plus c. And as I said, okay na to kung gusto niyo itong gamitin. Pero para sa akin, gusto ko pa itong i-simplify pa. So I will have e base on both sides. So magiging e raised to ln of p is equal to e raised to kt plus c. So on the left side, we have e raised to ln of p. So that means we can cancel e at saka si ln. Hence, we will have p. And on the right side, we can separate kt at saka si c. Magiging e raised to kt times e raised to c. And remember, c is an arbitrary constant. And as you can see, we have e raised to c. So when we say e raised to c, it is just a constant, not an exponential function. Therefore, dito, yung e raised to c mo, magiging siyang arbitrary constant na rin siya. So in other words, instead of having e raised to c, which is a constant, why not just represent it as c na lang? Kasi c and e raised to c are just the same. Both of them are constants anyways. Okay? So, ganyan na siya. Then, si c, ilagay ko siya sa harap. Therefore, we will have p is equal to c e raised to kt. So, this is our general solution. Ngayon, punto tayo sa initial condition. Okay? So, initially, so sinabi ko na to kanina, it means from the start. So, syempre, when we say initially, that means your t is equal to 0. Sa simula ka kasi nagsisimula. So, syempre, sa simula, okay, your time should be start at 0. So, i-substitute natin siya rito sa formula nito. So, you have p is equal to c e raised to k times 0. So, k times 0 is 0. And remember, anything raised to 0 is 1. So, you have c times 1. So, c times 1 is c. So, your c is equal to p. However, sabi ko, initially. Initially. Okay? Initially. So, that means, okay, from the start, tawag nito, that means, initially, or from the start, okay, since your p is equal to c, ang mangyari dyan magiging p sub 0 or initial p na lang ang gagamitin mo instead of p. Kasi si p, ginagamit to represent a specific amount in a given time. While si p sub 0, siya yung magiging initial amount mo. And since we are at the initial condition or nasa starting condition pa tayo, okay, and then hinanap natin si C in which wala siyang specific value, rather we have letter P, therefore yung P na yan magiging initial P. Okay? Take a look at this way. If you're going to recall yung lessons niyo sa physics, alam niyo yung formula dun sa two-dimensional motion na V is equal to AT plus V sub 0 or initial V. So, imbes na V, anong nangyari? Nagiging V sub 0. At yung V sub 0 na to, siya yung initial V mo. Okay, that's your initial V. So, instead of V, we will use initial V. Kasi yan yung magiging starting mo. So, in here, sa initial condition, instead of having P as C, magiging P sub 0 or initial P as your C na lang. I hope nagigets niyo ako Okay? I hope nagigets niyo ako. Basta kapag initially, na-substitute mo si T as 0, tapos wala kang specific amount para kay C, therefore magiging ano na lang siya, P sub 0. So therefore, we will have P is equal to P sub 0 times e raised to kt. Ayan na siya. Okay. Ngayon, let's proceed to the next case. May nakalagay rito, if the doubling time is 12 hours. So, nasa case tayo ng doubling time. So, sabi daw rito, your doubling time is 12 hours. Etong tanong ko, anong nangyari sa doubling time? Or what happens in a certain condition or in a certain population kapag nag-reach siya ng doubling time. Kasi, kasi tuloy, mali pala ako ng wording. So, ulitin ko. Okay. So, what happens in a certain population na naging doubling time condition na sila? Okay? Nasa peak ng doubling time. Tama ba ako? Yeah. Kumbaga, what if yung population na yon nasa doubling time? So, ibig sabihin nun, yung amount na present doon ay twice ng initial amount mo. Kumbaga, sa doubling time, at that given period of time, yung amount present mo ay twice or doble ng initial amount mo. So therefore, your P is equal to 2 times your initial P. So in here, P is equal to P sub 0 times e raised to kt. And again, sabi ko, sa doubling time, it means that yung given amount present mo ron magiging twice or doble ng initial amount mo. So magiging 2 times initial P. Okay? So remember your T is 12. So K times 12. So let's simplify. Both sides meron silang P sub 0 or initial P. So we can divide it on both sides. So we will have 2 is equal to e raised to k times 12, magiging 12k. Now, in here, pwede nating hanapin si k. That's a good part here. We can find our k here. So what to do? Ilagay natin ng ln on both sides. So ln of 2 is equal to ln of e raised to 12k. So ibaba natin si 12k sa gilid. So mangyayari dyan, magiging 12k times ln of e. And sinabi ko na sa inyo kanina, ln of e is equivalent to 1. Okay? Is equivalent to 1. So 12k times 1 magiging 12k. So ngayon, kunin natin yung k mo. So we will divide both sides by 12. So your k is equal to ln of 2 all over 12 is equal to k. Or instead of ln 2 all over 12, we will have 1 all over 12 times ln of is equal to k. Ayan. So, if that's the case, ang mangyari dyan, we will have p is equal to initial p times e raised to 1 all over 12 times ln of 2 times t. Ayan. So, pwede pa natin itong i-simplify if you like. Okay, pwede pa natin itong simplify. Or, you can just use this na lang for your convenience if ayaw nyo na itong i-simplify. So, sa mga curious, like, if you want to simplify this one, then there's no problem. Ilagay natin siya dito. Okay? So, we have, once again, P is equal to initial P times E raised to 1 all over 12 times ln of 2 times T. So una, ang ginawa ko, kinumbine ko si t at saka si ln of kinumbine ko si t at saka si 1 all over 12. So ang mangyari dyan, we will have t times 1 all over 12. So magiging t all over 12 times ln of 2. Then, yung coefficient ng ln of 2, pwede ko namang gawing exponent yan sa 2 sa loob ng ln or natural logarithm. So we will have initial p times t raised to ln of 2 raised to t all over 12. Ayan. So in here, since meron tayong base na e at meron tayong exponent ng e naka-natural logarithmic function, i-cancel natin si e at saka si ln. So you will have p is equal to p sub 0 or initial p times 2 raised to t all over 12. O, diba? So you can either use this one or this one. Mamili lang kayo. There's no problem. Now, let's proceed to the problem here. Sabi daw, if the doubling time is 12 hours, then how many hours will the initial number of bacteria become threefold? Okay. Kumbaga like, yung, ano, yung amount mo mismo, magti-triple yan. Kumbaga, wait lang, paano ko ito explain? Kung sa doubling time, di ba ang doubling time, P is equal to 2 times your initial P, di ba? That's for the doubling time. Okay? So, doubling time. Ngayon, what if usapang tripling time na tayo? Okay? Kumbaga, gusto nating i-triple yung initial amount mo. So, magiging P is equal to 3 times the initial amount. So, ito yung tripling time mo. So, ang hinahanap dito ay tripling time, in other words. Okay? Ito yung hinahanap natin. Alright? So, let me just erase the solutions here except yung naka-box na formulas. Ha? Alright? So, dito na tayo. So, how many hours will the initial number of bacteria become triple? So, basically, your P is equal to 3 times the initial number or initial amount. So, pili kayo which one would you prefer. Okay, which one would you prefer? You're on the left side or on the right side? So, on the left side, ito na piliin ko. So, since your P is equal to 3 times initial P, so magiging 3 times PO is equal to PO times 2 raised to T all over 12. So, since both sides meron silang initial P or PO, pwede ko silang divide both sides ng initial P. So, you will have 3 is equal to 2 raised to T12. In here, I can have my ln. I-ln ko sila both sides. So, magiging ln of 3 is equal to ln of 2 raised to T all over 12. Yung exponent ng 2, ilagay ko siya sa unahan. So, magiging T all over 12 times ln of 2. Okay? So, first, I can cross-multiply kasi meron siyang denominator dito ng 12. So, multiply ko si 12 dito sa ln of 3, magiging 12 times ln of 3 siya is equal to T times ln of 2. Then, I will divide both sides by ln of 2 para makuha ko yung time. So, magiging 12 times ln of 3 all over ln of 2. And that is your tripling time. Yan na yung sagot mo dito. Pero syempre, we need an at least approximate, okay, approximate hours. Okay, kung ato, kung usapang tripling time. Basically, yung point ko is that kunin natin yung approximate number nito. Okay, approximate. Okay. So wait lang, I will use calculator. Okay, I'm back. So this is approximately 19.02 hours. Okay? Or kung gusto nyo ng whole number lang, walang decimal, 19 hours to be approximate. Now, let's take a look kung ganun din sa kanan. Okay? I-substitute natin siya dito. P is equal to, P tuloy. Ano ulit yun? Di ba 3P? Right? 3P. 3PO is equal to PO times E raised to 1/2 times ln of 2 times T. So, both sides, meron silang PO or initial P. So, i-divide natin ng initial P both sides para matanggal si initial P. So, magiging 3 is equal to E raised to 1 all over 12 times ln of 2 times T. Okay? So, ang gagawin ko rito is ipag-combine ko si 1/2 at saka si T. So what happened? So magiging E raised to T all over 12 times ln of 2. Then ito, just like ginawa natin kanina, gawin nating exponent yan sa 2 sa loob ng ln. So magiging E raised to ln of 2 raised to T all over 12. And remember, if you have a base of E and meron kang exponent na ln, makakancel sila and you will have 3 is equal to 2 raised to T all over 12, which is magkaparehas lang sila ng solution dun sa sa kaliwa. So that means kapag magkaparehas ng equation dito, That means parehas na rin ang magiging formula tuloy, magiging solution mo rito sa pagkuha mo ng T. Okay? Basically, yung point ko is that, ngayon, di ba, nakuha natin dito ay 3 is equal to 2 raised to T all over 12. And as you can see, yan din yung resulta natin ginawa natin kanina eh. Di ba? So, paano natin nakuha si T dito sa equation na to? We use logarithmic function dito, di ba? So, kung anong ginawa natin sa kaliwa, ganun din ginawa natin sa kanan. Hence, it is proven na what? Ang sagot mo rin dito ay approximately 19.02 hours. Okay? Or 19 hours. Kung ayaw nyo maniwala, try to use this formula, itong formula na to, then i-calculate. Okay? The answer is still the same anyway. Alright? So that is the tripling time. Now, let's proceed to the next problem. The number of bacteria in a culture increases at the rate that is proportional to the number present. There were 55,000 bacteria after 14 hours, and there were 75,000 bacteria after a day. What will be the approximate number of bacteria after 2 days? So, anong ulit natin gawin? Siyempre, we will use this formula. dP all over dt is equal to, is equal to K times P. So, kunin natin general solution nito. So, nasabi ko na kanina on how would you get the general solution. So, ang general solution nito ay P is equal to CE raised to KT. So, I cannot explain further. Okay? Ito na yung general solution niya. Okay? Pero syempre guys, I do believe that kapag mag-exam kayo, kailangan nyo talaga ipakita yung solution nyo to. Like, how would you transform from this to this by finding the general solution of it? Okay? But anyways, just like what I said, I cannot explain anymore because of the time I have and direct to the point na ako. So, unang step, get the formula of this one and then get its general form, which is ito yon, si P is equal to CE raised to KT. Ayan. Now, here's the thing. Punta tayo sa initial condition, di ba? So, initially, ngayon, wala tayong given na initial amount. Parang parehas lang ng ano, di ba? Ng second problem kanina, di ba? Wala siyang initial amount. So, i-substitute natin to ng t is equal to 0 dito sa general solution natin. So, you have p is equal to CE raised to k times 0. So, syempre, k times 0 is 0. So, e raised to 0 is 1, obviously. So, c times 1 is c. And again, okay, instead of making c as your p, magiging initial P na lang siya. Initial P is equal to C. And nasabi ko na sa inyo kung bakit. Okay? So, let me explain it in summarized version of it. So, why is it that your C is P sub 0 or initial P or PO? Because we are at the initial condition. Kumbaga sa simula pa lang, we are asked to find the initial amount. So since there's no specific value for your C and your C is equal to P, therefore that P will just be represented as P sub 0 or initial P na lang. Okay? And that P sub 0 will represent the initial amount of the given population. Okay? So therefore, our formula is P is equal to P sub 0 times e raised to kt. Yan na yun. Now, here's the thing eh. Wala tayong initial amount. Kasi kung makikita nyo, there were 55,000 bacteria after 14 hours. Okay? And there were 75,000 bacteria after a day. Okay. Ngayon, sabi daw rito, what will be the approximate number of bacteria after 2 days? Yan yung problema natin. Kasi we need to find the value of your K at saka si C. Yung C na yan, ito yung initial P, di ba? O di ba? Yung PO. So, paano yun? How are we going to find it? So, ito gagawin natin. Una, we will have two equations. Okay? First equation natin is kapag meron tayong 55,000 bacteria that exist after 14 hours. Okay? So ito, since we have P is equal to P sub 0 e raised to KT, magiging ano siya? 55,000 is equal to P sub 0 e raised to K times 14. So, magiging 14K to. 14K. So, ito yung magiging first equation natin. Okay? This will be our first equation. Then next, sa second equation, we have P as 75,000 bacteria and yung hours niya ay after a day. So, ano ibig sabihin nun pag after a day? Meaning, your time is 24 hours. Okay, 24 hours. Alright? So, dito sa formula, again, P is equal to P sub O times E raised to KT, magiging 75,000 is equal to P sub O times E raised to K times 24. Or, magiging 24K na lang to. So, that will be our second equation. So bakit may first equation at second equation pa? What's the purpose? Ang purpose nun, para hanapin natin si initial P at saka si K. Okay? Yan ang goal natin. Let's find our initial P and our K. Okay? Hanapin natin yan. Para after we find it, we can now get the approximate number of bacteria after 2 days. So anong method na gagamitin ko rito? Okay. So let me rewrite it this way. So we have the first equation, 55,000 is equal to initial P times E raised to 14K. Then we have 75,000 is equal to P sub 0 E raised to 24K. So ito si first equation at saka ito si second equation. So what I'm going to use is one of the useful methods sa pag-solve ng system of equations, which is substitution method. Okay? So bakit ginamit ko yung method na pang system of equations? Para makuha ko si P sub 0 at saka si K. Okay? So, first, hanapin ko muna si P sub 0. And since yan ang una kong gagawin, pipili ako which one of the equation I will choose. So first, pipiliin ko to. Itong first equation. Ay, teka lang. Sorry. So pipiliin ko tong first equation. So we will have 55,000 is equal to initial P times E raised to 14K. So let's find our initial P. Madali lang to. We will just divide both sides by E raised to 14K. So we will have 55,000 all over E raised to 14K as initial P. Ayan na. So nakuha natin si initial P. So what are we going to do? We will substitute it sa second equation. Okay? I-substitute natin siya dito. So, sa second equation, right, we have 75,000 is equal to PO times E raised to 24K. And since your PO is equal to 55,000 all over E raised to 14K, therefore, teka lang, punta na ako rito kasi wala na akong espasyo sa baba. Therefore, you will have 75,000 is equal to, yung PO mo magiging 55,000 all over E raised to 14K times E raised to 24K. Tama ba ako? Yes. Okay, good. So sa ano ulit ginawa ko rito? So what I did is that I substitute this one sa second equation, which is to be specific dito. Okay? So yan. Now let's simplify further. So itong si naka-E, okay, E raised to 14K, E raised to 24K, okay. Ang mangyari dyan sa kanila, magiging 55,000 times E raised to 24K minus 14K. Kasi ang ginawa ko is that ipinagsama ko si E raised to 14K at saka si E raised to 24K. So ang mangyari dyan, we will have E raised to 24K all over E raised to 14K. So kapag, according sa laws of logarithm tuloy, exponents pala, so kapag meron kang the same base sa numerator at saka sa denominator, and may kanyang-kanyang silang exponent, ang mangyari dyan is, decouple mo yung base, then isubtract mo yung exponent ng numerator at ang denominator, which is 24K minus 14K. Okay, nakukuha ba? I hope nakukuha nyo ha, kasi basic lang yung in-explain ko lang ngayon. Okay? So here, we will have 24K minus 14K. That will be 10K. 10K nito. So yun, okay na siya. So let's simplify further. We can divide both sides by 55,000. So what happens kapag, wait lang. What happens if I'm gonna divide both sides by 55,000? So magiging 15 all over 11 is equal to E raised to 10K. So, ito kasi, 75,000 at 55,000 are both divisible by 5,000. So, i-divide mo to, both sides tuloy, both parts by 5,000, magiging 15 all over 11 yan. Alright? So, that's the simplified form of this fraction. Now, let's find now your K. Okay, hanapin natin na yun si K. So, we will use ln. So, ln of 15 all over 11 is equal to ln of E raised to 10K. And ibaba natin yun. So, magiging 10K times ln of T is equal to ln of 15 all over 11. Remember, ln of E ay, ano siya? 1 siya, di ba? So, 10K times 1. Remember, 10K times 1 is equal to 10K pa rin siya. Okay? So, 10K is equal to ln of 15 all over 11. So, we can now find our K by dividing both sides by 10. Okay? So, we will have 1 all over 10 times ln of 15 all over 11 is equal to K. So, yan na yung magiging K value mo. Alright? So, here's the thing. Are we done? No, we're not done yet. Bakit? Since nahanap natin si K, anong gagawin natin? I-substitute natin siya sa PO. Okay? I-substitute natin yan sa PO. Okay? Para makuha natin yung initial P natin. So, kopyahin natin yung initial P natin. We have 55,000 all over E raised to 14K. Ayan. So, remember, your K is, wait lang nga, solve ko lang dito. Your K is 14 times 1 all over 10 times ln of 15 all over 11. Okay? Ayan na siya. So, that's it. So, 14 times 1 all over 10 times ln of 15 all over 11. Okay? So yeah. So kapag kino-combine mo si 14 at saka si 1 all over 10, ang mangyari sa kanila, magiging 7 all over 5. Kasi if you're going to combine 14 and 1 all over 10, magiging 14 all over 10 yan. So, 14 all over 10 can be simplified. So, ang simplified version ng 14 all over 10 ay 7 over 5. Okay? Wait lang, nakalimutan ko i-copy yung numerator. Ayan, there we go. E raised to 7 all over 5 times ln of 15 all over 11. So, what to do? Pakatapos nun, kaya nga, since kasi wala na akong espasyo, ibura ko muna itong sa kaliwa. Kasi tapos naman tayo dito. So, no, wait. Wait lang burahin ko lang muna to for a moment. So, here, there we go. Yan. That's it. So, copyahin ko to ulit. So, copy. Okay. Paste ko dito. Ayan. So, meron siyang coefficient, si ln. So, ang gawin natin siyang exponent dito sa 15 all over 11. Okay? So, mangyari dyan, we will have 55,000 all over e raised to ln of 15 all over 11 raised to 7 all over 5 is equal to PO or initial P. And, tawag dito, since meron tayong e as a base and exponent niya ay isang natural logarithmic function, makakancel si e at kasi yun. So magiging 55,000 all over 1 all over 15 and mali pala ako. 15 all over 11 raised to 7 all over 5. Yan na yung magiging PO mo. Okay, is your PO or your initial P. That's it. Okay? Or kapag pansin mo parang mas gusto mo siyang itaas siya, walang problema. So we can have 5,000 times 15 all over 11 raised to negative 7 all over 5. Pwede naman siya pag there's a problem with that. Alright? So, yeah, that's it. Okay? So that is now your initial P. So ano yung formula natin kanina? Di ba we have P is equal to POE raised to KT. So na yun, pwede natin siyang i-substitute lahat. So magiging P, sorry, ibahin ko lang yung kulay. May nakalimutan pala. Ibahin lang natin yung kulay. So magiging P, okay, ito na siya. So we will have P is equal to yung PO mo which is 55,000 times 15 all over 11 raised to negative 7 all over 5 times yung E raised to K which is ito yun this is your K, di ba? So magiging 1 all over 10 times ln of 15 all over 11 times T. Okay? So ito na yung magiging particular solution mo. But if you want to simplify it, much better. I-combine natin si T at saka si 1/2. So mangyari dyan, i-copyain ko lang itong mga ibang terms. Okay. 15 all over 11 raised to negative 7 all over 5 times T raised to T all over 10 times ln of 15 all over 11. Tapos itong coefficient ng ln mo, ilagay mo yun as an exponent dito sa 15 all over 11. So, copyahin ko lang to for a moment. So, 55,000, 15 all over 11, e raised to negative 7 all over 5, times e raised to ln of 15 all over 11, raised to t all over 10. Ayan. Then, remember, kapag meron kang base na e, tapos meron kang exponent na ln, ika-cancel mo sila. So what happens is we will have p is equal to 5,000 times 15 all over 11 raised to negative 7 all over 5 times 15 all over 11 times t all over 10. Ayan siya. Okay? And since kasi we have the same 15 all over 11 bases, pero magkaiba lang sila ng, pero magkaiba sila ng ang tawag nito, na exponent, we can still combine them. So mangyari dyan, we will have P is equal to 5,000 times 15 all over 11. By the way guys, kung pagod na kayo, kung ngayon na makinig sa akin, pwede nyo nang sagutin yung yung problem yung problem dito. Ano lang kasi sinisimplify ko lang. Okay? Which is much better rather than using using this formula. Okay? So ipag-combine natin to. So once again, we will have negative 7 all over 5 plus t all over 10 or magiging t all over 10 minus 7 all over 5. Alright? So pwede na to. Okay? Pero if you believe na gusto mo pang i-simplify, edi itong exponent mo, gawin mo na lang siya as a whole fraction. Okay, you can make it as a whole fraction if you like to. Okay? Just apply butterfly technique. Okay, try natin dito. T all over 10 minus 7 all over 5. So una, multiply T, 5. So 5 times T is 5T. Then, kunin mo yung operation nila sa gitna, minus. Then next, 10 minus 7, may 10 minus 7. 10 times 7, magiging 70. All over, ito, multiply mo yung denominator, 10 times 5, 50. Ayan. Can we simplify this? I think pwede. Kasi 70, I think it's also divisible by 5 eh. Yeah, kasi 60 ay 12 siya. Tapos, pag 13 times 6, 65. Tapos pag 14, 70. So, we can factor this numerator by 5. So, magiging 5 times quantity, 1 t minus 14 all over 50. So, mangyari dyan, itong si 5 magiging 1, itong si 50 magiging 10. Hence, as a result, you will have t minus 14 all over 10. Okay, magiging 10 to. So, therefore, ang exponent mo rito sa 15 all over 11 ay t minus 14 all over 10. So, yun na yun. Ito na yung simplified version niya. O, di ba maikli? I know it's tedious, kumbaga. Pero, I mean, kayo bahala if you like to. Ay, kayo bahala. Pero kawawa yung calculator nyo kapag ito gagamitin itong formula, itong malaking formula na to. But, anyways, at least tama naman sagot mo. That's all it matters. Ay, sorry. Sorry po. Ayan. So, as long as tama naman kayo, that's all it matters. Now, nakuha natin yung particular solution niya, yung una yung na-substitute natin, at saka yung simplified version niya. Now, what we can do now is we can now answer the problem. What will be the approximate number of bacteria after 2 days? Remember, 2 days is equivalent to ano? 48 hours. Okay? 48 hours. So, what we can do now is we will substitute it in ano? In our formula. So, sa simplified formula, magiging P is equal to 55,000 times 15 all over 11. Ano ba? 15 all over 11, tama? Raised to T or 48 minus 14 all over 10. Okay? And try nga natin yung ano, yung mahabang formula. Ano yun, di ba? 55,000. Tama ba ako? 55,000 times 15 all over 11 raised to negative 7 all over 5 times E raised to 1 all over 10 times ln of 15 all over 11 times T or 48. Let's get our calculator. Alright, so nakita ko na yung resulta and yep, wait lang, bakit may resulta? Sorry. Nakita ko na yung resulta. So, both of them are actually the same kapag kina-calculate sila. Gamit ng iyong calculator. So, the answer is, ano ulit? Teka lang. Ginamit ko kasi ibang calculator. So, it's 157,883.9. Okay, yun. Finally, 157,883.9. Okay, yun. Pero sabi daw, what would be the approximate number of bacteria? So, we can have our answer as 160,000. Pwede naman. Okay, 160,000 bacteria. Pwede naman. Alright? Or kung gusto nyo, 155,000. Okay, pwede naman yun. I think that would be much more accurate. Okay, I think mas accurate pa yun. Hindi, wait lang. Ay, hindi. Magiging 100. Hindi pala 55. Mali pala ako. 158,000 of bacteria. Okay? Ayan. 158,000 of bacteria. Okay? Pero once again, okay kasi, baka kasi sa choices kasi, it depends eh. Kaya mas maganda kapag, ano ka, kahit ganito na lang yung sagot mo. I think that's far better. But for approximate, talaga yung as in by thousand value or gusto mo wala talagang decimal, hindi ito, there's no problem. Basta 158,000 or 160,000. Okay, basta accurate siya sa sagot. Alright? So that ends our part 1 sa laws of growth and decay. Alright? So I hope you have learned something. Sensya na kung medyo mahaba to. Alright? So there are more to come.